The season is barely underway, and already we've gotten some crazy, ridiculous performances from tons of players. And last night's Blazers-Rockets game was no exception. Just check these numbers from the Big Four, as the Rockets somehow stayed in this game despite having 7 players unable to play, and we were treated to an overtime game full of intrigue. So allow me to introduce you to a really good big man you might not be aware of, and reacquaint you with 3 of the nastiest men suiting up in the NBA today. When Houston gave up very little to get Christian Wood, Rockets fans might have thought he's just another big body that can run the pick and roll with James Harden. And there is no doubt this will be a very common sight all season long. After the flare screen for Harden is well defended, the Trailblazers switch the ball screen since it puts Covington on Harden. Rocco forces him left, but gives up a straight line drive and compounds the problem by trying a reach around steal, taking him out of the play. This forces Derrick Jones Jr. to step up, and it wouldn't have mattered if Simons properly rotated down to help, considering where this pass went and how Wood finishes. But Chris Wood is much more than a Clint Capella-style offensive player, and it shows by Portland's reluctance to guard him with a slow big man like Jusuf Nurkic. However, this pick and roll forces a mismatch, which Nurkic scrams out of there to guard Wood in the left corner. Wood looks like a guard by hitting him with an inside-out dribble before smashing all over the rim before the rotation could help. Wood is active and can grab boards, but get a load of this. He brings the ball up. Notice they don't want Enes Kanter anywhere near him despite playing the same position, and Wood just takes a good defender in Jones right into the paint before Euroing another vicious dunk through the rim. In the fourth, with Harden doing serious damage in the field goal department, Covington's foolish gamble in the backcourt forces Kanter to have to pick up Harden. I don't mind Rodney Hood showing another defender to support Kanter, but Covington absolutely cannot be a third defender here. The gorgeous behind-the-back pass to a cutting Wood allows him to show off the great touch on his floater game as well for a crucial bucket in the fourth. Baseline out-of-bounds plays played a big role in this game, as CJ shows a very typical NBA action inbounding to the big man and then sprinting into a handoff. Of course, the defense is worried about this same action from Damian Lillard, so he shucks his defender towards the sideline as he cuts backdoor and Nurkic is allowed to pop a one-handed pass for the layup. The Rockets are no strangers to this play, as Harden runs the same thing with Wood, coming around for the handoff. But of course, he converts this into a step-back three-point shot that had his defender 2 steps behind. Rejecting the screen is always a great way for a guard to get going full steam ahead to the hoop, and very few are as good as Dame at it. The Blazers show a double ball screen to his left, but the Rockets do not drop Jayshawn Tate down, despite David Nwaba moving into ice position to force Lillard to the baseline. This means Lillard gets a free run to the hoop, catching Nwaba out of position as he jumps off both feet split for the hanging floater off the glass and one. The Rockets again play the same position on this double ball screen to Lillard's left, and again makes no sense, as Lillard crosses over and gets to the hoop for the off-foot double pump reverse jelly finger roll. Harden is no stranger to rejecting the screen himself, as Wood sets up a screen to Harden's left. Notice where Nurkic is setting up to Wood's right to hedge. This allows Harden to cross over and get to his right, and despite Melo being a bigger defender who should rotate to help, he leaves it to CJ, who is no match for a Harden Euroing full speed into the lane. Trailblazers coach Terry Stotts deserves credit for designing some of the more creative sets in the NBA. Knowing the Rockets like to switch everything, running this high post split can force easy mistakes. Harden is literally slow dancing with Damian Lillard while Sterling Brown is calling for the switch. CJ sees this and just breaks back door for the rarely seen McCollum slam. They ran the same play again, this time with Derrick Jones setting the flare screen for Dame. The Rockets actually switch off of Dame, but because this is a back screen, Jones already has a lead on the way to the hoop. This catches Harden looking like a human statue as CJ gets a wide open shot in the corner. Deep in the fourth, the Blazers run it yet again. They don't switch it, Tucker gets bumped off by the screen, and it's another layup. CJ McCollum tied for a game-high 44 points, fueled by 9 3-pointers. So let's look at how he got some of them. First, CJ sets the screen for the ball screener, which forces a switch. Daniel House let Dame get too low along the baseline, allowing him to split the screen right into the lane. The initial rotation was great. Lowest guy comes over, the farthest guy bumps down. PJ Tucker should have moved between the corner and the wing and then picked up the first pass. Sterling Brown would have then closed out to the wing. Instead, both defenders converge on the corner, leaving CJ all alone for another triple. I think we all know that CJ is an elite shooter, so getting an early help position at the elbow one pass away is simply a mistake by David Nwaba. CJ begins his shot with several feet of space, and you simply cannot do that against him. While Carmelo wasn't very interested in setting the first screen for CJ, Nurkic takes out CJ's man, but Chris Wood's arms are down, and CJ has too many feet of space as he begins rising up for the shot. It's simply an easy and open shot for him, and the Blazers retake the lead midway through the fourth. James Harden also had 44 points and did serious damage from behind the arc as well. Covington is in perfect position as Harden does his dance, but watch how the slightest step with Roko's left foot signals Harden to step back into his pull-up. We've seen pick and rolls from the low post before, but just like we saw Harden turn that handoff into a three, I don't think I've ever seen a back-to-the-basket post-up turn into a long ball like this as it swishes clean through. Deep in the fourth of a tight game, Harden suffering no effects of quarantining for the past 4 days, he tries to attack Jones, who does an excellent job cutting him off. At this point, it's unclear why Nurkic isn't coming over to shadow Harden in the lane for 2.8 seconds. A simple crossover gets James by his man, Nurkic isn't there to help, and it's a layup. When Dame got this look off the screen out top due to a slow switch, it felt like the game was over, and when it missed, it felt like the Rockets were in good shape. But wait, the refs call a loose ball foul on PJ Tucker. Now here's an excellent use of the challenge, but after reviewing it, the call stood, and the refs were right on their initial call. But Nurkic choked on both free throws, and check how Harden sells going to his right off this high ball screen, sucking Nurkic to his left, leaving the middle wide open to cross over into. This left a wide open Chris Wood in the corner until it got deflected. But wait, Portland had a challenge, and they actually win it when they realized that Covington deflected the ball, but Harden still touched it last on the way out of bounds. But Dame couldn't find the buzzer-beating magic we've seen him come up with so many times, as the fall away from the baseline isn't close. The step-back three from Harden has become so lethal to defenders that they'll bite at any type of movement pattern that resembles it. Harden catches Jones lunging, and the gorgeous give and go is just another example of why Harden is so impossible to stop. This high ball screen forces a switch I'm sure Portland wanted, but because this is an air ball, that matchup exists on the other end as Chris Wood takes Lillard straight under the hoop, where he patiently waits for Harden to get the ball to him on the lob, and he finishes to cut the lead to 3. Forcing the switch of CJ onto him with the ball screen, Harden goes into his dance, culminating in the left foot jab, push off into the very legal right-left step back for the jumper with CJ flailing at him. Tie game, in a 2-for-1 situation, the Blazers set up a high pick and roll, but there's the rejection of the screen again, allowing a straight line drive. Great help by Wood, but Dame is just too good, turning this into an inside hand reverse on the way down. Not to be outdone, Harden goes to work on the right wing and tries to do his signature step back move. However, he gathers the ball here, and whether you want to consider both feet landing at the same time or the right then the left, at this point he cannot step back with 2 more steps. If the right foot is considered down first, it's the pivot and it lifts, then comes back down to the floor. If it's considered a jump stop, then the left foot is the pivot and it too lifts, then comes back down to the floor. Coach Stotts caught it, but not the refs, setting us up for a thrilling ending. Of course, you're allowed to pass the ball back into the backcourt in the last 2 minutes, and Dame catches Danuel House again helping off of CJ from 1 pass away. There was no need to help here. Wood was in perfect position. As a result, CJ gets the game winner on an open 3 despite the off-target pass. We did get some potential madness during the last possession. I get what Jones is trying to do defending Harden like this, but being on top of him here means it's easy for Harden to run him right into the screen. I like that Nurk tried to support him for a few steps, but it meant Jones was so far behind, desperate to close out, that he overruns the play. Because PJ Tucker had set the screen in the lane, he didn't have time to get out to the corner. Harden should have seen this pass was not open even if he was in the air. A toss to Wood wide open on the wing is a better look, and the turnover shockingly ends the game, with Portland pulling it out. But I'm not sure the Blazers should be feeling awesome about having to go to overtime at home against a completely undermanned Rockets team. But it doesn't diminish the incredible displays of skill we got from these 4 players. Stay tuned for the next time they meet up, because I'm sure it will be another barn burner that will go down to the wire. If you like this video, you're going to love my new YouTube membership. There are 3 tiers to choose from, all with tremendous bonus content, including private watch parties. Join me for the next time these 2 play, and you can come on the show as well. You in?